been talking about risk, and of course, that's one thing that we would want to measure. And we all know that we have lots of alerts in our day-to-day, but why not? Let's be proactive in this part. So I'm going to introduce this one new layer that we can place in cybersecurity. So look at this. The items in the red part, we're all familiar with this, right? So these are the tools that we use day to day. We use it to perform our analysis. We use it to discover new threats and the like. But I'll just place an ad lib on this. Anyone familiar with this guy? Have you seen him in social media? Okay, I think this is actually a meme way before.
Actually, it's a story of a guy. This is around Mother Ignacia Street in QC. So he drove his car through a high flood. Then then after that, so his car floated. Then syempre tumirik, so it's not starting anymore. Then after that, once it was pushed over across the flood, he already said, "I'm blaming the government. I should have been informed. They should have blocked the road." Like that. So this teaches two lessons in being proactive and being reactive, actually. So that was a reactive aspect because he went straight through the flood without properly checking. But in terms of a proactive approach, he actually has a point. Because what happened there is that it's true, right? So the government should have blocked it. And also being proactive, he must have prevented that he have studied that his car can properly wade through the flood. So so much for that ad lib. I'm here about our proactive tools that we have available right now. So we're all familiar with these as well. So virtual patching, predictive analysis, threat intelligence,
Zero trust. So we all have those tools available now. But the current problem is that all of these tools are currently siloed. So you need to talk with different management teams who's in charge of this. Then also in addition, you need to correlate the items one at a time. So you check what's in this tool, you check what's in this tool again, then you would correlate, talk to different teams, then after that, properly plan. So that's the downside of having different siloed tools. So for a proactive security approach, these are our three major goals. So we would be able to predict and prevent. So prediction and prevention, we would be able to know what's our vulnerabilities and what's our risks. Of course, from that, we would be able to slow down our attackers and, of course, prioritize efficient mitigation by creating respective playbooks and, of course, our corresponding assessments. So how do we get there? For security teams, analysts, we're familiar with this. You look at the attack, there's a detection by the product, there's a detection by the teams, and after that, you create your respective response. So that's the current timeline. Why don't we backtrack a bit? Once we backtrack, that's anticipation. So anticipate that can happen days, months, weeks before an attack because you would properly plan out preventing this from happening. And I leave this with a quote. If you anticipate, you win. If you react, you lose. In driving school, driving instructors usually teach us anticipate. Anticipate is the key to defensive driving. So that's also the key in cybersecurity right now. We need to anticipate to prevent threats from attacking. And being proactive, of course, if I would think about that, being proactive, I'll start to train the people I have in my company. So once I train them, I'm expecting that they would lose or they would avoid the risk of being phished. But at the same time, the current problem is that we know that AI is already developing. So there's the popularity of deepfakes. And of course, we know that apparently our users, or actually the employees in our companies, may be susceptible to attacks. And of course, due to that, training has its limits. So I'm going to introduce 3 approaches that we can do in proactive security. So our 3 approaches would be discovery, assessment, and prioritization. I'm going to break them down. In terms of discovery, first, you can protect what you can see. TrendMicro's study, we had 92% of ransomware attacks was due to rogue device. So, of course, you need to have a glance of whatever items or whatever machines or asset types are deployed in your company environment. Of course, we would not limit it to our own visibility. it's nice if we would have other tools that we can integrate together with different third-party integrations, network visibility, and the like. And of course, more sources would have better visibility and overall control. And of course, we would not limit the asset types that we would look at. It's not always the machine that's risky. Included there are our users. Also, there are some, we call them our OT devices. We also want to monitor those. And also, once we have a complete discovery or once we know our complete assets, it's nice to come on to assessment. Okay, so assessment would have, due to the discovery that we had earlier, we were able to see the different devices and the like, right? So now we have a list of that. We would now be able to check for the different vulnerabilities that we have on the different devices, because that's actually influential and it's actually key in our approach to proactive security. So once we were able to see the different vulnerabilities, we're able to see the different levels of how high this vulnerability is and what can be potentially exploited. To add on that, it's not limited to our different tools that we have. Maybe we can expect that the endpoint can perform the respective scanning, and also we would add a network scanner to find additional unmanaged vulnerabilities in our other devices. And of course, it's not only limited to vulnerabilities. So also on configuration. So in TrendMicro incident response cases, we have determined that majority of cases that come in are due to misconfiguration. So for misconfiguration, these are the different tools or these are the different misconfigurations that have been done. So these are the potential security risks that can be used by attackers. And last is prioritization. So you already have the complete picture. You already have performed the discovery. You already have assessed. So it's now time to prioritize. So you would know what to act on first. So one common thing I usually say is, if everything is priority, nothing is a priority. So from here, we're able to provide corresponding risk levels. And we were able to know what are the sensitive information or sensitive data. And we would be able to know what we would be nominating and what would be the respective asset. Including that, we would be able to see the different correlation of how these devices are connected from one another. Then due to that, we would be able to know which specific user accesses which specific device they access, and what specific tools they would be able to use. And the beauty of that is, once we know that, using Gen AI, we would be able to predict what an attacker would pass through, or where an attacker would pass through. And of course, once we have all of those, we would be able to create a risk score. Why would we need the risk score? So that we would know what we would need to act on first. So I'm going to introduce cyber risk exposure management. So cyber risk exposure management is a proactive security approach. So that performs continuous discovery, assessment, and prioritization. So in terms of discovery, we're able to see the different internal and external assets together with the different sources and different assets deployed in the network. So that also includes non-IT devices. So we're able to see that. And also, we would have misconfigurations and vulnerability assessment that would be done continuously. And of course, since we have all of those, we're able to generate a risk score automatically. So every time that risk score updates, you would be able to know what to act on. And in addition, let's place this to quantification. So you know your cyber risk score, right? As mentioned earlier. So maybe let's say you would feed in some business data to the AI. And of course, your business information. So who among here had difficulties explaining to the board or actually higher ups that we need to invest in cybersecurity? Who here? I believe some of us, right? I believe some of us. So I'm here to introduce cyber risk quantification. So cyber risk quantification actually gets multiple sources together with your risk score, and also with the frequency and likelihood of an attack. So you're going to fill up that form and place in different information about your company. Then from that, you would be able to see your different risk level in terms of numbers in terms of value, because the easiest way to explain the need is through numbers and a numerical figure, because it's actually a universal language. So the potential outcomes, and actually what we want cyber risk quantification to do, is that we would be able to provide an actual cost figure, and of course this would be driven by data, fed by TrendMicro, and also data fed by our customers. So in summary, these are all fed via the Trend Vision 1 console, which is the actual platform used by TrendMicro right now. And actually, this is an AI-powered cybersecurity platform, and we also allow third-party ingestions of other products as well. So it's a single view. You would be able to see everything in a single pane of glass. So that's it for today. I hope we have a proactive security, a roadmap, and our approach to proactive security would be properly done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kyle Herrera. Please remain on stage. Let's take a look at your visual evaluation. If you anticipate, you win. If you react, you lose. Reactive, proactive, problem. Siloed tools. Proactive approach, predict and prevent attacks. Slow down attackers. Prioritize efficient mitigation. Misconfiguration causes high risk. Discovery, assessment, prioritization. And there's that resilience and attacks. So thank you very much. Those are just some of the key takeaways from his presentation. Thank you very much once again to Mr. Kyle Herrera.
In our rapidly evolving digital landscape, speed and efficiency are key to keeping ahead of security risks. Welcome to a new era of cyber resilience with Cyber Risk Exposure Management. Cyber Risk Exposure Management isn't just a tool, it's your partner on your security journey, enabling you to reduce complexity, optimize compliance, and proactively protect your organization from threats and attacks. Try Cyber Risk Exposure Management free for 30 days. Sign up now.